Hi, my name is Luke Sheldrick. I own and operate an organic farm that does cut flowers and organic vegetables. I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks on how to start seeds, as well as cover a few mistakes that are super common to make sure that your planting this spring produces some incredible starts to get into your garden. For soil, when you're filling trays, you have to have it be damp. So you want it to be wet enough that when you squeeze it, it holds its shape, but it doesn't drip water out. So that's the goal. So for us, for one bale, that's one full bucket. And then additionally, when we're adding water, we actually like to put a little bit of additional amendments in there to give them an extra boost when they're starting out. So what we use is this product. It's an organic fish and kelp. So for the soil, we like to overfill them, as you can see here, because what we want to make sure is that we're getting enough soil into each individual cell. If you kind of just fluff it on and then scrape it off, you don't actually guarantee that it's like going in. So your plants could actually lack the nutrients that they need. So we like to pile it up and then kind of push it in like this as we go around. And also having damp soil also helps with that. When you have dry soil, it's just too fluffy. It doesn't sort of condense. So that's two ways to make sure you're getting enough soil in those cells so that it's not just air. You don't want to overpack them, but you definitely don't want to underpack them. So then we use another tray, the same one, and then we use that tray to sort of pack these in. We just give it a nice bit of force on the top here, and that's going to give us our indents perfectly for our next planting. So you can see by the depth that they're not too deep, so that means there's enough soil in there, and that's perfect for our planting. One of the most common mistakes is planting your seedlings too early. So what you need to do is research either on the back of the pack or on the internet for your type of seedling that you're planting, and it'll tell you how many days before the last frost to plant it. People planting them too early, getting excited, don't do that. Do your research and work backwards from your region's last frost date to find out your nursery planting date. So that's the day you want to plant in your house so that it's timed properly for when you're going to plant out to the field. Another important element is choosing the correct tray size. So that will require another little bit of research, but you certainly don't want to be putting something that grows quickly like tomatoes in 128 cell trays without intending to pot them up. So that is something you can do, and you're going to want to research again. Like if you're using Johnny's Seeds, they have amazing resources to tell you pot up dates or if the crops need to be potted up. So for example, with tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, we like to put them into 128 cell trays, and then 21 to 30 days later, we're going to be potting them up into a 6-inch pot. So different options. You need to be accounting for the size of pot you want to be using. Another example would be maybe something that grows quickly like summer squash or cucumbers. We would put into these 15 to 30 days before we're going to plant it out to the field. Wherever you're planting, you need to make sure the environment is a controlled environment with enough light. So whether that be in your home or a greenhouse like this, you need to make sure that you have enough warmth in the evenings and during the day, but also enough light. So obviously we don't have an issue with light in this environment. And if you're doing it in the home, you're going to want to make sure that you have either some lighting or a well-lit windowsill, and maybe even a space heater and fan as well. And I'm going to take you inside to show you our grow room in our basement. So next to planting them on time, another important thing is having the correct amount of light. So I'm going to show you here these bells of Ireland that we planted in the house to try to get an early start. Not under lights because we didn't have space. That's called a laggy plant. It means it wasn't getting enough light, so it's grown tall to reach for light and didn't get enough to sustain good leaf growth. So these laggy plants, we could try to pot them up into something and bury those stems, but they're likely a lost cause. So making sure you have enough light is extremely important, and you don't have to have a greenhouse to have enough light. You do need a south-facing window. These were not always in the window, so that wasn't ideal. But if you're taking planting seriously, I wouldn't have faith in just a south-facing window. It's not going to give you the ideal circumstances, and you will have the chance of being disappointed with laggier plants. The ideal circumstance is either a controlled environment outside like a greenhouse, or growing under lights. So I'm gonna take you to the basement and show you our light setup. So right now this room is acting as a healing chamber for our grafted tomatoes. If you're curious about that, you can check out our other videos. But right now the purpose of showing this room is just the lights. So this is a stand from Costco. These are T5 Sunblaster lights that I find to be excellent for growing under. I love it because I just adjust their height manually with little wire, like craft wire, and it's been working excellent. This is a more typical system with actual ballasts. There are benefits to that as well, but this is extremely affordable. So I can put the links up for the T5 Sunblasters. The importance of having good lights that are, you can also adjust their height, is that the plants are getting full spectrum light for the right amount of time. I also suggest having them on a timer so that you can remember then when to turn the lights on and off. It can be really bad to leave them on overnight, or again, to forget to turn them on in the morning. It's crucial to follow the planting instructions that are on the back of the packet. You're going to want to be sure that you're getting the correct planting depth, but then also there's other initial details, for example, such as flowers, that you're going to be wanting to put vermiculite on as your, instead of soil on top, because they need light to germinate. So there's always different particular details that you should be checking on the back of the packet. The last thing that can be super tricky is watering. Really important to be aware not to overwater, but also not to underwater. So as a principle, you typically want to water once a day. If it's in a greenhouse where things could dry out sooner, maybe 2 times a day or even 3 on a sunny day. But you just want to get to know your soil and sort of get a feel for it. You're going to feel it over time. It can be, if it's consistently damp, you're going to see like, almost like an algae. And if you see it drying down, you're going to feel, you can lift the tray, you're going to feel that those things are too light. So you're gonna wanna do water twice. You have to soak the top and then come back a second time, and that's gonna let the water permeate the top layer of soil. So you can't just quickly skim over top. You have to get an awareness of how to do it, and it's gonna vary for everyone differently, but you're gonna learn as you do it consistently. I hope you found this seeding guide helpful, and if you did, please hit subscribe or like. Please leave a comment if you liked anything or you'd like to see something more. Also check out our other videos. I'm doing weekly vlogs as a small scale farmer, sharing what it's like, so you can see us all the way from week 1 on throughout the season. Should be exciting, and we'll also have more informative videos as well, and those vlogs. So trying to do as much as possible. So please hit subscribe if you like this or if you have interest in anything more. Have a good one.